Relatively early on in my life, I decided that I felt it was important for me to explore as many different kinds of games as possible. That I should avoid turning something on for just one play session and bailing on it if it doesn't immediately click with me. To be honest, when I was younger, I actually thought I was somewhat above the idea of personal taste. I really just didn't feel myself being pulled too much toward any one style of game. I didn't feel a fierce loyalty to any series, platform, or company, and I was always more excited to try something new rather than continue delving into the minutia of what I had already digested. However, I have changed. Through many different factors and circumstances, I think I have begun to identify what my personal favorite kind of video games are. And now, I would like to spell out for all of you the recipe for the perfect Jason video game. My favorite kinds of games are... First of all, single player. Optional multiplayer component is appreciated but not necessary. Equal parts mechanically driven and narratively driven. Balance will usually be preferred over a strong adherence to one or the other. And I want both of these components to be as complex, deep, nuanced, intricate, and intellectually challenging as possible. The kinds of games people will criticize by saying, it's like you need to get a college degree just to play it. That's honestly where I feel the most comfortable and at home with my gaming. I think it's valuable to establish these biases as they're important to who I am. And I can't deny that a lot of the games placing this high on the list have some amount of adherence to these principles, although games will rarely hit 100%. Most games, unfortunately, are not targeting me and me specifically. But throughout these 2 decades that I have been a video game player, no game or series matches my personal preferences for what I want gaming to be more than Xenoblade Chronicles. Did you forget we were actually going to talk about a game in this segment? The much appreciated remaster, so good that I personally consider it a remake, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition souped up the landmark RPG to more closely match modern standards. The improvement to UI, character visuals, controls, quality of life, and bonus content were all tremendous boons to this game. But of course, the value of Xenoblade Chronicles was already present. The classic narrative elements of a young man journeying away from home to face a hostile foreign force perfectly tease up the emotional and philosophical journey this game is going to go on. The wide open landscapes, epic setting, and impressive runtime easily allowed Xenoblade Chronicles to be one of the grandest epics gaming had produced to that point. And yet, I would argue that its achievements as an interactive video game far exceed even those story accomplishments. What first captivated me about Xenoblade was basically the promise of a single-player MMORPG. The real-time combat offers plenty of opportunities for optimization, experimentation, or my favorite, just being goofy with your character builds. I feel like games offering the player enough freedom to try exceptionally stupid character builds is kind of a lost art. Perhaps because they're worried about less experienced players stumbling into bad builds by accident, but whatever the case, it's an aspect of this game that has made me far more compelled to replay it than I otherwise would be. But more important, the sheer vastness of this game is perhaps its greatest accomplishment. It's that, if you can see it, you can go there mentality that has absolutely infected every other big Japanese game series, from Monster Hunter to Sonic to FromSoft, and as far as my understanding of video game history goes, Monolith Soft is the company who started that movement off with the success of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. Or more accurately, they just got Zelda to do it, and then everyone took the inspiration from Zelda, but Xenoblade did it first. How long has this segment been going on now? I don't even know if I can commit the time to talk about the music, which might be the single most beloved thing to come from this game. So many incredible video game music talents came together to offer one of the widest emotional ranges we've ever seen in video game music. So many complex styles on display, with each unique voice coming through so clearly. This is an easy contender for the best soundtrack ever put to a video game. and I'm hastily brushing by it because somehow that was one of the lower priority topics that there were to address about Xenoblade Chronicles. But you know, I don't think I need to do all that much heavy lifting. The game is old enough now to clearly cement itself in the legacy of Nintendo and the history of RPGs, and the industry is so much better off for it having been made.